Hello everyone!
Hey!
And welcome back to the review of Alubari, a nice cup of tea. Indeed, so many tea. Oops.
Yep.
Alright, so what do you think of Alubari, a nice cup of tea? Was it nice? Was it a cup?
I wanted to call it Tea Kit to Ride throughout the entire playthrough, but I couldn't find a way to put that joke in. I just want to mention to everyone that when we're reviewing a game and Idan is arranging a drink, he did not like the game. He just wants to get it over with quickly.
That's a nice correlation you pointed out there. I need to do something with my hands. Okay.
Let's start with art and components. I actually like the components. They're classic Euro-ish feeling, but there was thought put into them. The discs are different sizes for different things. It makes sense. Like a lot of games do that small token, large token thing, and they do it badly. Like Marco Polo, where you have a camel that represents 3 and you have a camel that represents 1, and they're like virtually the same when you look at them, but this one is nice. Personally, not a fan of the art. Something about the gradient here, the gradient work done, just makes it all blur into a brownish shade in my eyes. But when you look at it from a functional standpoint, with the exception of this icon, everything is great. This one annoyed me, and I mentioned that in my overview as well, that this icon in some cases represents move the tracker, in some cases represents get according to the tracker, and in some cases represents harvest according to the estates. Why? Those are 3 completely different things. This one moves the tracker. This one doesn't move the tracker. What's the difference? No. Anywho, if you put that aside, everything is functional, everything is clear, and I like that. I also like the fact that the weather kind of makes sense. You can plan your turns ahead, and you can look at it and say like, oh, this is what's gonna happen. These are the actions that are gonna be nice. So yeah, stuff to like here. Comments?
On the art, yeah, I think the board could have been a little bit smaller, just that it'll be easier to reach. It's too. I think it's just a little bit too
Trend.
big. Yeah, I wish it was smaller, and
We get a lot of oversized boards in the past 2 years.
yeah, and yeah, I mean, I think the components are nice. Nothing very extraordinary, but that's okay. And the graphical style is mediocre.
I knew you wouldn't like it.
Yeah, the watercolor style is okay, but it's not amazing.
Yeah, some drawings are exceptionally ugly, whereas others are kind of nice.
Yeah, and the overall gray-green is
It
kind of
converges to
underutilized,
brown.
I feel like. Okay.
So, where were we? Mechanics? I like the weather. I like that the tracks are variable. I wish there was a bit more complexity in that region, because we got like what? Rain. That hasn't happened to us in previous gameplays, but I would have been happy if there was some way to mitigate that, because these do restrict your actions. As far as mechanics go, I was honestly sure that equipment is pretty much not worth the cost. And I tried, like, sometimes when Idan explains the rules to me, I just think to myself, wow, this mechanic sounds completely pointless. I'm going to prove that it's pointless by never using it and still winning. So I haven't won. Like, I won this round, but not every time we played. And I do feel that the equipment is not worth the money. But other than that, it's nice. It borders on a point salad, but it doesn't quite get there because the scores are high, and getting these is virtually meaningless, but combining them with a goal card, that gives you a lot of points. So you kind of go for these, and then you go for these when you have the opportunity, or you see a high scoring one that you're close to and you get it, and then you try to complete it along the way. So there is strategy and there is thought. there's just not a lot of depth. It's mainly looking at high scoring cards and taking them, or looking for cards you've completed and taking them. That's pretty much what it boils down to. This is cute. I just wish it were more used. Like if you had twice the cubes in the bag, just in general, more white cubes, like 50% of the other cubes, and then a lot more of the white cubes, so you can have some kind of rotation or some kind of. I like the fact that the way you gain tea, which is a very, very powerful resource, changes throughout the game. Chai. The way you get chai changes. At first, you're just rushing to get it from the warehouse, and then it's out. And then you kind of have to think about how to generate it, how to get it from bonuses, how to get it from equipment. So that's nice.
Okay.
Your turn. I'm running out of thoughts.
Okay. So yeah, I like the worker placement, and the fact that you first place the workers, then you activate them. And I like the river of cards that flows around here, and you pick up cards whenever it's something that works for you. I think so there are only 8 cards of equipment in the game, and you always play with 7, so it's pretty much the same set of cards. Like the 8th one, what real like variability is there, right? And I think that in a typical game you will most likely go through all of the cards, so you will see all cards. It's just a matter of in which order. And the game board, there is no variability in it. It's always the same flow. And I do like the tracks and the fact that you can plan ahead and sort of understand where the wind is blowing, so to speak, and then like act accordingly. And I do like the chai management. That's also nice. I don't like the race elements of this game. There are a few. In more than 2 players, it's a race like there's a race to the blue spots because it's a chai. And there's also a race to finish the game quickly if you're up ahead, which is sort of the opposite of catch the leader, because if the leader is able to build, which gains him points, then it's easier for him to finish the game. And I don't like the surprise of the events. I think that it's okay, but
the probability of getting completely screwed over by this is comically low.
Yeah, I still think that it's the negative events are not that fun. I prefer to know of, like in Orleans, I prefer to know that something bad is going to happen so that I have a chance to react, as opposed to this might come or it might not, and I may lose my passive ability, which is important. So I don't know.
Sure that doesn't happen at the end of the round? Well, the others happen in the beginning of the round.
No, everything happens when the cube goes out.
Okay.
Yeah. So
we can always house rule it so it's at the end.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So overall, I think the game lacks. First of all, just maybe 2 points. One is that I like the way that the game scales, in the sense that there are more chai, and there's another space over here.
And that matters.
And the cards themselves, right? So the default board comes with 3 players, so the number of spaces changes, so it restricts you, so that's nice. And I like that. And the other thing that I want, so it does scale well. The other thing that I want to mention is that we haven't played Snowdonia, this is sort of the successor of Snowdonia. We haven't played that one at all. But it's sort of on the same general lines as this one. So yeah, overall, I think my main problem with this game is that it lacks replayability for me, because it'll always be the same. In that respect, it is similar to Ticket to Ride, in the sense that the board is always the same, and it's just a matter of picking up the right contracts, just like in Ticket to Ride. But I guess the extra layers of worker management looking into the future and these one-time special abilities are not making up for it. Like they're not adding anything interesting enough, at least for me, to get this to the table.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. There's it's like if you don't have a massive board game collection and you're interested in this game, then it's a good game. It is cute, but the depth to complexity ratio just doesn't hit it for me. I mean, there are a lot of actions that take you on one route, and that is it. Like there's this flow of get iron, so you can get steel, so you can build, so you can get iron, so you can get steel, so you can build, so you can, and it just feels a bit repetitive, which is, it's not a bad thing because rounds are quick.
Yeah.
But if you want to play a game where you actually think about how you want to place your workers and what you want to do with them, then this feels like it's a bit, it doesn't reward you for your thought.
Yeah.
Which is not necessarily a bad thing, it's just, and what I'm trying to say is the game is deceptively shallow. If you look at the board, if you look at the rules, you might think that there's more to it than just advancing along the board with the resources you have and then picking the correct cards, but that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
And Ticket to Ride is looks simple, and it is simple.
Right.
So yeah, if you looked at the game and it seemed interesting to you, give it a try. It's a good game. It's just not.
It feels a little bit old.
Yeah, there are better things out there. There are things that are more well thought out. Like I would rebalance the weather. I would make the events more dynamic. I would make some of them at the end of the round so people can mitigate. Just help it feel a bit more strategic. Rather than just opportunistic. That being said, not a bad game. Perfectly serviceable.
Okay. So we hope you enjoy this video and review video. And again, if you want to look at the links down below, you'll find the overview and the full playthrough. And other than that, we bid you farewell and drink lots of tea.
Yep, enjoy your tea. And if anyone decides that this is now called Ticket to Ride, then copyright me.
All right. Bye.
Bye.